ERIK Watts?
Hey, well, Eric, I haven't seen him in years, but we got along fantastically. I've always felt bad for him in the sense that, when your dad's Bill Watts, and you're in a wrestling dressing room, that's his kingdom. Um, it's like Eric was a great football player, good football player. That doesn't necessarily translate over to wrestling. And I think his dad expected way too much too quickly. Uh, you can't cliff notes this business to somebody. I can't give you the abbreviated version of my 40-year career and say, read these 20 pages and you'll have it. You can give a slight scraping and flavor of it. And I think by throwing him in there immediately and expecting him to be able to swim with the top dogs, I can't imagine in my first 6 months in the business being in the ring with, top guys and expected to uphold the end of the bargain. That's an awful lot to expect for anybody. And I'm also not sure that Eric had the love of wrestling that most of us do. That pretty much all of us did. Little sidebar. I don't know where the term mark ever became a negative phrase because we're all marks. That's why I'm in the business. I'm a mark for professional wrestling. I love it. I don't think Eric had that same kind of love for it. And it was unfair to him because, in a dressing room with guys that have run the road, at times UWF was a 10,000 mile a week territory. And these guys have been running the roads for years and years on end. And here you bring your kid in and throw him right to the top of the card, it steps on a few toes, which was unfair to Eric. If I was going to bring my son and do something like that, first of all, I would never put him like right at the top like that. I'd make him earn his way up. But I would certainly put him under a mask. And that was the thing that never made sense to me. It would have been easy enough to put him under a mask and let him get some experience. And then, ta-da, here's ERIK Watts. He was put in an unfair situation that I don't think there's anybody that could have lived up to.
Is it unfair for me to say he had nothing to offer the business? Is it more apt to say he could have been really good and offered something for the business if he was given time to be seasoned first?
Absolutely. Look, this is a very, very hard industry a skill set to pick up. We run a school here in Charleston, and there's time that we've got a good group of kids, but there's times that it gets exacerbating, right? Because we've gone over and over and over something. And then you'll see them make that same mistake again. And then I got to catch myself and say, dude, you made that mistake a lot longer than that, right? It's, and I was in the ring with like true future Hall of Famers. I mean, like you look around the dressing rooms that I was sitting in, and these guys were all could wrestle, 60-minute matches in their sleep. So how could I not learn it? But it took me. Steve Austin and I talked on his podcast before we recorded. He ended up asking me the same question during the podcast: how long before I felt comfortable in the ring? And I thought back, and I'm going through it chronologically in my head, and I thought it was about 6-7 years. He said 7 years for him too. Now, keep in mind, that was 7 years of us being on the road 350 plus days a year, being in the ring every night with the Pez Watleys and the Dick Murdocks and the Dick Slaters and the Harley races. These kids today in the business or in schools today, they're out there once a week, and they're not getting that day-to-day experience. So, I don't even know how much kids on the road like in AEW or TNA or WWE are on the road today, but I would dare say that it was probably exponential the experience that we were getting in the same time frame that these kids are getting today.